when the kidnappers forced Ryan to choose between two hostages. He abandoned Lily to save me. But I refused to leave with him. I knew he'd regret it. Last lifetime unfolded exactly like this, after my rescue. Lily had compromising photos taken before slitting her wrists that very night. Ryan pretended indifference, proceeding with our wedding ceremony only to spend 7 years making my marriage miserable. When I finally pressured him into divorce, he deliberately drove us off a cliff en route to court. Even with death approaching, he kept blaming me. We owed Lily this lifetime of atonement. How dare you live peacefully? This time, I choose differently. Emily, come with me. Upon awakening to this second chance, I found kidnappers holding knives against Lily's throat and mine, forcing Ryan to choose. His gaze flickered between us before reaching the same decision, his hand extended toward me. But I shook my head firmly. Save Lily first. Ryan. This lifetime, I'll carry neither debt nor blood guilt. Ryan exhaled in visible relief. You're my fiancée. Emily. I should prioritize you. But since you insist. He whisked Lily away before I could reconsider. Unlike his chronic regrets, I stand by my choice. Last time, he'd arrived with ransom money only for the kidnappers to demand selecting one hostage immediately. Trapped. Ryan chose me. During the hours we spent gathering additional funds, the captors attempted to assault Lily after taking those photos. Though police intervention prevented the worst, the damage was done. Lily ended her life that night. Ryan showed no grief, calmly arranging her funeral while compensating her family generously. Even when I suggested postponing our wedding, he refused. Our union was planned long ago. Emily. Can't let outsiders disrupt it. Yet this outsider haunted him for 7 years. Our marriage became his cage for my perpetual penance. But what sin did I commit? After Ryan left with Lily, I focused on self-rescue. Last time, he'd slipped a tracker into Lily's pocket during their farewell hug, enabling police to locate them despite being moved. Now he seemed to forget this crucial step. Perhaps he only ever wanted to save Lily, constrained by societal expectations from choosing his true desire. Our arranged marriage between the Adams and Johnson families held no deep affection, while Lily shared his innocent youth as confidant and childhood sweetheart. No wonder Ryan grew to resent his choice. Now he's free. I'm happy for him. Meanwhile, I plotted my escape. I know that when the kidnappers change locations, they'll pass through an auto repair shop. The mechanics there are notoriously tough. In my past life, when the kidnappers tried to temporarily take over the garage during their escape, they didn't expect the owner to be such a hard-ass who refused to back down. Both sides went at it with everything they had. Those kidnappers probably never imagined meeting people even more ruthless than themselves. Afraid of drawing too much attention, they eventually slunk away. Later, when the kidnappers got caught, that garage owner even testified against them. Now, just like before, they've left one guy to guard me in the car while the rest head for the garage. With my hands tied behind my back, the kidnapper in the driver's seat doesn't see me as any threat. Seizing my chance when he's distracted, I use my teeth to work open the door handle before bursting out of the car at a dead sprint. I'm making for the same garage as the kidnappers. I'm gambling that these mechanics won't leave someone to die. That's why I'm charging straight into the chaos. Inside, the place is already in uproar. My eyes immediately lock onto the young garage owner, Jake. His sharply defined features radiate quiet authority. His movements precise and controlled. There's an undeniable badass vibe about him. Ducking low to avoid flying debris, I dart forward, only to miscalculate my momentum and send us both crashing to the concrete floor. When I land sprawled across his chest, I'm white-faced with panic. Sorry. I babble, trembling. Please, can you help me? Jake's brows knit as he scans me. Suddenly he rolls us violently across the floor, crash. A wrench smashes into the spot where we'd just been. If he hadn't moved, I'd be in serious trouble. Before I can catch my breath, the kidnappers spot me. What started as a territorial dispute turns into a hostage demand. The two groups face off while I desperately whisper to Jake, "I'll do anything if you save me." But he stays silent, studying the kidnappers thoughtfully. Someone behind us mutters, "Jake, don't go looking for trouble." As the silence stretches, my hope dwindles. Fine. No point forcing help. When the lead kidnapper barks his third order for me to come, I start moving. A hand clamps my shoulder. Jake steps forward, declaring to the kidnappers, "She's under my protection now." Divine intervention arrives with the roar of motorcycles outside. Jake flashes a wolfish grin. "My backup's here." The kidnappers curse but retreat. My knees nearly give out from relief. I feel the zip ties snap. Jake's cut me free. "I'm Emily," I say, offering my hand. "Thank you." "Really?" Jake Wilson kept staring at my wrist where the rope had left angry red marks. "Let me take care of that," he insisted. I shook my head. "It's just a scratch." "Who was it that promised I'll do anything if you save me earlier?" He guided me to sit on the stool before I could protest. Retrieving a first aid kit. "This might sting," he warned. I bit my lip as he carefully cleaned the abrasion, his unexpected tenderness making my chest tighten. Memories surfaced of my previous life with Ryan. Early in our arranged marriage, I'd once suggested he drink less while helping his intoxicated self to bed. He'd shoved me violently, sending me crashing to the floor. My jade bracelet shattered, the shard slicing my wrist. "Does it hurt?" Ryan had coldly watched me clutch the bleeding wound. "Good." Lily endured worse pain without complaint after those kidnappers, all because she tried protecting you. I'd stared up at him in disbelief. "But the kidnappers took both Lily and me to pressure you. You chose to rescue me first. Why say these things now? Our marriage was grandmother's doing, not mine." His eyes remained frosty despite sobering up. "Without your interference, I could have saved Lily properly." Laughter had burst from me then. "You're insane, Ryan." Blaming me instead of the actual criminals. I'd patched my wound alone that night, and every injury afterward. Now, Jake blew clumsily on my treated wrist. "What are you doing?" I asked. Throat tight. "Mom's old trick for pain." He grinned. "Better?" Before I could answer, the garage door slammed open. "Heard you had trouble, boss." "Holy shit. Where'd you find this knockout?" A tattooed mountain of a man named Ryan gaped at me. First time seeing a real lady in this grease pit. Jake stepped between us. "Handled. Drinks later." Ryan pouted dramatically. "Ditching your bro for some tail?" After shoving the smirking mechanic aside, Jake muttered, "Read the room, dumbass." "She your girl?" "Looks that way. Doesn't it?" Total power couple vibes. "I demand wedding candy." "Cut the crap." The two men nearby kept whispering, though they tried to lower their voices. Every word clearly reached my ears. To ease the awkwardness, I pretended to be busy looking around everywhere except at them. Minutes later, Ryan got hustled away by Jake. After they left, Jake asked, "Where do you live? I'll give you a ride home." Driven by some hidden urge, I suddenly didn't want to return. My parents were always preoccupied with their own affairs. They wouldn't notice if I disappeared for a month. As for Ryan, if I guessed right, he'd probably been reborn too. He was likely rushing to spend eternity with Lily right now. In our 7-year marriage last lifetime, he never took me to any events, never shared our bed. When others asked about me, he'd just scowl, eventually turning me into the social circle's laughingstock. This time, I'll stay far away from him. Tugging Jake's sleeve, I pleaded, "Could you let me crash at your place for a few days?" considering both lifetimes. He seemed decent. Capable of protection too. Would he reject me if I clung to him? Jake suddenly leaned close. His gaze burning. Keep this up, little girl, and I might take you seriously. His crisp soap scent filled the space between us. As I swallowed nervously, a familiar voice interrupted. What's going on here? Ryan had arrived with police officers. Are you hurt? His concern looked genuine. I spread my hands. Do I look hurt? Ryan fell silent. Lily entered next, glancing at the now functional repair shop. Emily, how did you escape 6 armed kidnappers in unfamiliar territory? Honestly curious. What was she implying? Everyone knows the Johnson and Adams families plan to merge through marriage while competing for the South District land auction in 10 days. Then this extravagant ransom demand surfaces at the worst possible timing. Forgive me for having suspicions. She thought I hired the kidnappers? 2 lifetimes and I'd never been this speechless. I'd pitted Lily's past suffering. Even saved her this time. Yet her first move after rescue was to bite the hand that fed her. Raising my hand, I called out, "Officer! Slander happening here." We all got taken to the station. During the interrogation wait, Lily persisted. Why won't you explain? Emily? I scoffed. Why should I? You're not law enforcement. Ryan intervened for her. Emily. Lily just wants the truth for proper testimony. Oh. Planning to lie to the police now? Ryan shot to his feet, pointing at me angrily. Emily. You're completely unreasonable. Jake emerged from the interrogation room and immediately stepped between us. Lower your hand, he commanded in an even tone that brooked no argument. Hidden behind Jake's broad shoulders, I couldn't see their expressions but sensed the mounting tension crackling between them. Who exactly are you to her? Ryan demanded. Jake glanced sideways at me, a faint smirk playing on his lips. What do you think? He countered. My breath caught as I stared up at his impossibly handsome profile. Acting on impulse, I formed a tiny heart with my thumb and forefinger. Ryan's face darkened several shades at the gesture, saved only when an officer called him for paperwork. The police had identified suspects but needed to apprehend them before proceeding. I already knew this was orchestrated by Ryan's business rivals. Outside the station, Jake suddenly said, "It's fine." Pardon? Your request this afternoon. You can stay. He shrugged. Mom's visiting relatives. I usually crash at the garage anyway. As I opened my mouth to accept, Ryan interjected. Emily, your parents landed an hour ago. They're heading home right now. The familiar ache returned. My own parents' schedules were better known to Ryan than myself. Throughout childhood, they'd missed every birthday, every parent-teacher conference. I'd once failed exams and scraped knees just to glimpse them between business trips. Eventually I stopped waiting, buying my own cakes, hiring a kind florist to pose as family at school events. Then came that sun-drenched afternoon at the basketball courts. A stray ball came flying, intercepted by a sweaty teenager with sharp eyes and sharper cheekbones. Watch it, Ryan had said with that infuriating smirk, droplets glistening in his dark hair. My 16-year-old heart never stood a chance. I'd later learned about his childhood friend Lily, though their relationship never progressed beyond friendship. My arranged marriage to Ryan had felt like destiny until reality set in. Last life. When I'd begged for divorce, my parents refused. Ryan's practically running both families' enterprises now. They'd chided. Be grateful he tolerates you. It took years of antidepressants and self-harm before Ryan finally relented. This second chance demanded different choices. I need to grab something from home first, I told Jake, plucking his phone to program my number. The satisfied ringtone made him raise an eyebrow. Insurance policy, I explained, handing it back. Ryan's jaw tightened as we parted ways. Make sure to save my number. I'll come find you in a couple days. I hailed a cab for myself and left without giving Ryan so much as a glance the entire time. When I got home, my parents were waiting in the living room. Before I could speak, they launched into their lecture. Ryan told us what happened today. When will you stop being so reckless? Do you have any idea how dangerous that was? Those were armed criminals. And you told Ryan to save someone else first? My mother sighed heavily. How can we trust you with the family business if you act like this? They never trusted me. That's why in my past life, they'd handed the company to Ryan. Then they'd blissfully retired to chase their youthful dreams while my father spoke up from the couch. We should finalize the marriage arrangement soon. I don't agree. My tone brooked no argument. I came home to tell you I'm canceling the engagement with the Addams family tomorrow. Whether you approve or not. This time I'm deciding my own future. Don't bother threatening me with the company inheritance either. Give it to whoever you want, hell. Keep it. I don't even want it anymore. With 7 years of future knowledge this time around, poverty wasn't in the cards. I retreated to my room, leaving them stunned. Let them be disappointed. The next morning, I found my mother preparing breakfast. Auntie Fong said you were looking for snacks last night. I'm sorry. Sweetheart, I forgot to ask if you'd eaten dinner. I froze. Since when had she become so maternal? She tucked a stray hair behind my ear. Your father and I realized last night, maybe we've been approaching this wrong. We wanted you to grow strong. So we held back affection. But if you want independence, fine. We won't force the Addams marriage. Just like that? All those childhood tantrums met with scoldings. Years of being the perfect daughter earned only criticism. Yet a few harsh words mimicking their own methods changed everything? The Addams estate loomed before me. Their matriarch had proposed our engagement after I'd helped her during a hypoglycemic episode at a gala. She'd insisted on making me her god-granddaughter, which led to family dinners and meeting Ryan. That sharp-eyed old woman had spotted my crush immediately. Now I had to return the heirloom bracelet she'd given me. Ryan arrived with Lily in tow. Both dressed formally. Convenient timing, they could announce their own engagement right after canceling ours. What a happy coincidence for everyone. When I placed the bracelet on the table, Ryan grabbed my wrist and demanded, "What's this supposed to mean?" Right, last night I'd only asked to meet him at the Addams family estate. Never mentioning calling off our engagement. Mrs. Addams watched us, already sensing trouble. Emily, has Ryan done something to hurt you? Her glare sliced toward Lily as she spoke. I answered respectfully, Mrs. Addams, I'm the one ending things with Ryan. My tone remained steady, like discussing the weather. Ryan's pupils constricted sharply, disbelief flashing across his face. Why? Because you abandoned me yesterday to save someone else. I suppose that's who you really want to marry? I glanced at Lily, finding her staring back with that stubborn damsel in distress act. No. Ryan's eyes clouded with confusion. You told me to save Lily first. That was a test. You failed spectacularly. The silence thickened until Mrs. Addams sighed. I heard about yesterday's incident. You're too good for my grandson. Dear grandmother. Ryan cut her off, his grip crushing my wrist. Emily, I won't allow this. My still healing wound throbbed under his assault, biting back pain. I almost laughed. In our past life, he'd mourned Lily for 7 years after her death. After rebirth, he'd rushed to save her again. I'd assumed he'd jump at freedom. Smiling coldly, I said, keep this up, and I'll announce the breakup publicly tomorrow. See how the Addams family likes that scandal. One by one, I pried his fingers loose and walked out. I hadn't expected him to follow. Jake's motorcycle roared up to the estate gates. Not wanting drama, I called out. Sorry. My boyfriend's here. Ryan sneered. You'd choose some broke guy over me? What can he possibly offer? Better than a two-faced cheater. I moved toward Jake. His hand clamped my wounded wrist again. I hissed in pain, only then did Ryan notice the bandage. I didn't know you were hurt. Would it have mattered? My bitter smile answered for him. Jake saw red. His punch sent Ryan sprawling, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Stay away from her, he growled, settling his helmet onto my head before revving the engine. Wind whipped past as we tore through mountain roads, the speed blurring my troubles. Leaning against Jake's back, I felt adrenaline override the lingering hurt. Where to, girlfriend? His voice carried over the roar. I chuckled, realizing he'd heard everything, wrapping my arms around his waist. I answered. Since we're dating now, how about your place? I'm starving. No problem. And lucky for you, I'm a pretty decent cook. Then I want 4 dishes. Consider it done. Jake's laughter echoed through the mountains. Whether it was his influence or not, I felt an overwhelming sense of ease in that moment. Jake's house was bigger than I'd imagined. He fumbled around to bring me a brand new pair of men's slippers. They might be a bit big, but these are the only new ones I have. I slipped them on casually and smiled. No worries. Good thing I come back occasionally to clean up. It shouldn't be too messy. Even though he was the host, he seemed more awkward than I was. I plopped onto the couch, propping my chin on my hand as I looked at him. I don't cook, so you're on your own today. Jake didn't head to the kitchen right away. Instead, he brought over a first aid kit. The wound that had been dressed yesterday had reopened when Ryan squeezed it earlier, the dried blood now glued to the gauze. Jake carefully poured iodine onto the bandage, trying to loosen the crusted layers. He handled the delicate task with surprising focus for such a big guy. Half an hour later, the wound was properly redressed. He reminded me, stay out of water for the next couple days. I blurted out. Then how am I supposed to shower? 2 days without washing won't kill you. After a pause, he added, I won't judge. You'd better not. Wouldn't dream of it. Humph. Should I start cooking then? I nodded with a smile. Yeah. It suddenly struck me how relaxed I always felt around Jake. An hour later, he presented 4 dishes: sweet and sour pork, garlic butter shrimp, steamed sea bass, and cucumber salad. He handed me the chopsticks. Give them a try. After sampling each dish, I gave him a thumbs up. Perfectly balanced flavors, as memorable as the chef himself. Guess I won't go hungry around here. That afternoon, my father called. He wanted me to attend the auction in 10 days, saying if I could secure the Southern District land, the company would be fully under my control. I knew that plot, besides the Adams and Johnson families. Several other corporations were eyeing it. Last time, the kidnapping ordeal left me traumatized, and Lily's death later on certainly shook me. I fell seriously ill and missed that auction. Even if I hadn't gotten sick, I wouldn't have competed against Ryan. Back then, I was completely smitten, convinced I'd found the man to spend my life with. The Adams family was drowning in debt then. Ryan struggled to secure the land until I funneled money from the Johnsons to help him. Ryan won the auction, developed a theme park there, attracted businesses, and elevated the Adams family's status within years. Clearly it was a golden investment, hence all the competition. This time, I'm taking it. What surprised me was Lily coming to plead with me. Gone was her aggressive demeanor from days before. Now she adopted a submissive tone. Could you please not break off the engagement with Ryan? We've only ever been friends. If you agree, I'll disappear from your lives completely. I stared silently, utterly speechless at the absurdity. I always thought the same in my past life, they were just close friends. But after Lily Brown's death, Ryan's behavior clearly went beyond grieving a friend. The day he agreed to divorce me was after my 10th self-harm incident during my battle with depression. He came home to find me lying in a pool of my own blood. Maybe he feared I'd die in his house. So he finally signed the papers. On our way to finalize the divorce, he suddenly asked, "Do you know today is Lily's death anniversary?" I stared blankly and shook my head. I could barely keep myself alive. How would I remember that? My indifference enraged him. He slammed the steering wheel, calling me heartless. "You're alive because Lily died for you. Yet you've never shown gratitude. Not even remembering her death date. You just want to run away. Think that'll absolve your guilt? Emily, you disgust me." Snapping back, I hissed, "Oh, you're so noble clinging to her memory. Why didn't you follow her to the grave then?" The car swerved violently before plunging off a cliff. Even as we crashed, Ryan kept snarling, "We owed Lily. This life was meant to atone. Who gave you the right to walk away? Well, this lifetime, we're even." I'll enjoy watching Ryan's downfall. Cutting off Lily's ramblings, I waved dismissively. Reliving past trauma? No thanks. Get this straight, both the Adams and Johnson families voided the engagement. Did Ryan send you? She shook her head. No. I just can't bear to see him lose. Emily, you loved him once. This is my fault. I shouldn't have accused you of hiring those kidnappers or returned from abroad. If I hadn't, Ryan wouldn't have rescued me and hurt you. I blinked. Can't see him lose? Adams Corporation needs that Southern District land to recover. If you're ending the engagement, at least don't compete against him for it. I laughed coldly. Are you out of your damn mind? Finally, it made sense. Last life, when we rescued Lily, police had already caught the kidnappers and recovered both ransom payments, combined with funds I siphoned from Johnson Holdings. Ryan secured the land. But now, my self-rescue spooked the criminals. They vanished. No leads. No recovered money. Adam's advantage was gone. Lily clenched her jaw, suddenly kneeling. Emily, I'm begging you. Stop destroying him. Ah. Emotional blackmail, classy. Leaning down, I whispered, "You fled overseas when our engagement was announced, then rushed back after the wedding plans. You're right, this is your mess. So fix it yourself. The Brown family's poorer than mine, but scrape together something. Besides, Ryan spent your ransom money. Begging me? Are you stupid? Or do you think I am?" She paled, speechless. Good. Let her stew. Visiting my parents later, I found them gone, again. Same as ever. Chasing their passions while wanting nothing but a competent heir. Doesn't matter who. Whatever. Like I care. 2 days of rest healed my hand. Mostly. I grabbed a car from the garage and headed straight to Jake's auto shop. Before I could see Jake, I ran into Ryan Lee, the tattooed guy from last time. He awkwardly greeted me. Hey, sis. Where's Jake? I asked. He scratched his head. Jake went out. You need him for something? Before I could answer, he smacked his own mouth. Stupid question. Of course you can drop by any time. His gold tooth flashed as he grinned. Why don't you wait in the lounge? He should be back soon. The waiting area smelled like motor oil and jasmine tea. Several mismatched tea sets cluttered the coffee table. I brewed a pot of oolong, the ritual calming my nerves. Ryan lingered nearby, eyes darting between my designer shoes and the tea ceremony like he was watching some alien ritual. Sorry about the mess. He blurted. Jake's the tea master around here. Us grease monkeys just chug energy drinks. What's your name? Ryan Lee. Does Jake treat you well? The question surprised even me. Ryan's grin faded. Not just me. Everyone here. He gestured toward the garage bays where mechanics worked. That guy tuning the engine? Deaf since birth but can diagnose problems by sound. The detailer with the limp? Homeless vet before Jake taught him paint correction. Half these guys couldn't get jobs washing dishes before Jake. His calloused hands tightened around a wrench. 5 years back. Some loan sharks left me bleeding in an alley. Jake stitched me up right there on this garage floor. The wrench clanged against his tool belt. Now, anyone wants trouble with him goes through me first. The admission hit harder than I expected. My world had always been gilded cages and fake smiles. Yet this roughneck crew followed Jake with fierce loyalty. Where is he now? Skyline Plaza area. I think. Some meeting. Ryan suddenly looked nervous. Oh. And sis? Jake's loaded. Like private island money. Just hates flashing it. Wanted us to call you Miss Johnson at first, said your proper East Egg folks. The outdated Gatsby reference almost made me smile. Almost. At the Plaza's coffee shop. My blood turned to ice. There was Jake, listening intently to Lily's tearful confession. When she slid into his booth, my stomach lurched. Old me would have fled. Burned bridges. Built higher walls. But this was Jake. I was halfway to their table when Jake suddenly recoiled like she'd thrown acid. He practically vaulted over the booth and crashed right into me. Our eyes locked. His wide with panic. Mine. God knows what mine showed. Compared to my calmness. Jake first froze for a moment. Apparently, he didn't expect to see me here. Then he strode towards me. Emily. Lily chased after me at this time, with a look of eagerness on her face. Mr. Wilson. As long as you can agree. The words Lily was about to say suddenly stopped when she saw me. However, she quickly composed herself and instead asked me, Emily, why are you here? Could it be that you're also here to see Mr. Wilson? As she spoke, she deliberately leaned towards Jake. But Jake was very alert. When she leaned over, he immediately moved to my side, looking at me somewhat innocently with his eyes. He said, Emily. I pretended to be fierce and said, I'll deal with you when we get home. Lily watched our interaction, and her eyes gradually dimmed. Emily, I really underestimated you. I shrugged and replied, yeah, I think so too. Lily was frustrated. Her face turned green, then white, and then red, looking extremely embarrassed. Actually, I'm not the kind of person who is easy to take a beating. In my previous life, if I hadn't taken those who didn't care about me so seriously, I wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. Jake took me home. By now, it was almost completely dark. We just huddled on the sofa without saying a word. After a long time, he was the first to break the silence. Aren't you going to ask? Didn't you say you'd deal with me when we got home? I said faintly, if you want to tell me, you'll say it even if I don't ask. If you don't want to, it's useless to ask. Jake had no expression on his face. Do you know what Lily came to see me for? I shook my head. On the way back, I thought of many reasons. For example, did Lily have a crush on Jake? Or perhaps Ryan was jealous of our relationship and deliberately sent Lily to annoy me. After all, they were good friends and were willing to do anything for each other. But then Jake suddenly asked me if I was eyeing the land in the south of the city. I was shocked and said, how do you know? Because the right to use that land is in my hands now. It's something my dad left for me. What a coincidence. Wait. So, Lily still didn't give up and went straight to Jake, trying to get something from him? But how did she know that the land belonged to Jake? There was only one answer, which was that Ryan had told her. In my previous life, when he was getting the land, he must have had contact with Jake and thus knew about it. Seeing that Jake kept staring at me, I immediately realized something. You don't think I'm getting close to you for this piece of land, do you? For some reason, a feeling of uneasiness welled up in my heart. It turned out that while I was having doubts about him, he was also suspecting me. I lowered my head, trying to smile but couldn't. Seeing this, Jake suddenly held my face in his hands and said seriously, "Silly girl. Of course I don't think so." At first, this thought did flash through my mind, but I quickly dismissed it. I trust my judgment. I asked, "Just like when you saved Ryan and the others?" Jake raised his eyebrows slightly. "No, you're different from them. I saved them out of kindness. But I saved you because I was attracted to you." "Jake, you're really good at this." I pouted and complained a little discontentedly. "How do you get so good at this? You must have dated half the city." Jake gazed at me with tenderness, his palm cupping my cheek as he tilted my face upward. His lips brushed mine in a fleeting kiss, soft as dragonfly wings. "It's not practice. It comes naturally when I follow my heart." Heat flooded my cheeks as my pulse raced. I buried my face in his chest to hide my flustered state. My ear pressed against the steady boom 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 of his heartbeat that seemed to shout declarations of love. After lingering in his embrace, I whispered, "Jake, I love you as much as you love me." His answer came in the form of crushing me against him until I could barely breathe, as if trying to fuse our bodies into one. The next morning, Jake handed me a document. My eyes widened at the land transfer agreement bearing my name. "Are you out of your mind? Do you realize what you're giving up?" I withdrew from the auction. "Why wouldn't I give you what's already mine?" His casual tone couldn't mask the gravity of this gesture. My heart swelled until I feared it might burst. I blinked back tears. This was happiness, not sorrow. "If we're doing this, you need to see something first." I dragged him to our city hall. Jake kept asking, "Are you absolutely sure?" even as we stood before the marriage license office. I smirked. "Aren't you afraid I'll take your fortune, dump you, and find someone richer and hotter?" He pretended to consider. "Richer? Maybe. Hotter? Impossible. Exactly why I'm locking you down." We barely stepped outside with our marriage certificates when Ryan appeared. His face turned ashen watching me tuck away the crimson booklets. "Emily," he choked out. "You actually chose him. Psycho." I rolled my eyes. Moving toward our car, Ryan grabbed my wrist, tears streaking his face, crocodile tears. "No doubt." I motioned for Jake to wait in the vehicle. "I regret everything," Ryan blurted the moment we were alone. "Hate me. Hurt me. Just forgive me." "Regret what?" I sneered. "Failing to save me? Or mistreating me in our past life?" He recoiled like I'd slapped him, all color draining from his face. When Ryan started slapping himself, crying I deserved to die. "But can't we start over?" I coldly asked. "What do you think?" His hands fell limp. Desperation flickered in his red-rimmed eyes. "It was Lily. She ruined us. I never wanted her to harass you." He clutched my hands like a beggar. "I'll be your side piece if that's what it takes. Just look at me again." I stared in horrified disbelief. The man I'd once loved had reduced himself to this pathetic shell. Emily yanked her hand back, wiping it on her clothes. "Ryan, what do you even want?" I'd never believe he truly loved me. Once you've witnessed real love, this kind of imitation just feels like discarded trash. Ryan wore that sickeningly devoted expression. I realized too late. "But I won't give up on you." A chill ran down my spine like being haunted by some vengeful spirit. "Ryan, keep this up and I'm calling the police." He froze, tears streaming down his face like some broken faucet. The sight just made me itch to get away faster. You never loved anyone but yourself, Ryan. Whether it was Lily or me, we were always secondary to your ambitions. You can't stand seeing me thrive without you. So you want to drag me back into your hellhole. Well, newsflash, I'm not alone anymore. I jerked my chin toward where Lily had been lurking. She'd been tailing us since the restaurant. Let her see her precious prince for the scam artist he was. Dad handed over the company reins after I secured the downtown property deal. Jake and I kept our marriage certificate locked away, no need for family meddling in our quiet life between boardrooms and takeout nights. When Lily's exposé about Ryan's financial manipulations went viral, I might have anonymously boosted its algorithm reach. Watching Adams Enterprises stock plummet felt particularly satisfying with my morning coffee. The hollow-eyed wreck who showed up at my office 3 months later barely resembled the arrogant heir. Depression, he rasped. Now I understand your pain. I bit my cheek hard. Oh, Ryan. This isn't punishment, it's divine mercy. You got your second chance to play hero for Lily. Who cares about bankrupt companies when you've achieved your grand redemption arc? The coroner ruled his bathtub drowning in accidental overdose. Karma's a bitch. Dad always said rotten character sinks ships. Jake murmured later, needing tension from my shoulders. I rolled over to face him. How far do you think our ship sails? His grin flashed wolfish. With this crew? Century minimum. Reasonable. My fingers found his belt loop. Though the captain might need provisions first. The Wilson-Johnson merger proved exceptionally productive that night. Jake stared at me with burning intensity, his eyes reflecting my image like the most exquisite rose in this world. They say loving someone is like nurturing a flower. Jake cherished me so dearly he kept me sheltered from the slightest hardship. Yet I blossomed into greater brilliance. Everything I'd failed to obtain through 2 lifetimes, Jake lavished upon me in abundance. I wound my arms around his neck, brushing my lips against his as I murmured, "Not unreasonable."